In this video, we'll be going over how to transition a model from Revit into Unreal for the purposes of an interactive walkthrough. To move our Revit model over to Unreal, we'll need to go through 3ds Max. And it's pretty simple import to get your Revit model in. There's a link Revit function. And we'll find our Revit model. And for our purposes, we will combine by Revit family type. Attach the file. We'll hit no on the daylight system because we'll be creating our own lighting setup. And there is a new tool by a company called 3dstudio.nl. I believe they're based out of the Netherlands. They wrote a script a few years ago to convert materials in 3ds Max, but they recently revamped it to make it much better. This script is mapped to my Control-Alt-U. You'll see it pop up, Universal Material Converter 1.0. We convert to scanline. We don't want to make instances of duplicate materials, and we don't want to bake for this specific project. So we'll convert to scanline. We'll see that the conversion was finished. And now you can see all of our materials on our building. To make the door more interactive, what we can do is break it up between the door and the door frame. First, we will clone the door as a copy. One will be the frame and one will be the door. Now what we'll do is isolate the door. So all we're doing here is getting rid of all the door frame mesh. To do that, we'll go over to our edit poly, select our polygons, and we'll control click and select everything that is part of the door frame. Grow that selection. You'll see that all the door frame is selected, and we'll delete. And we have this one extra polygon up here. Next we'll do the same thing but for the door frame. We'll delete, and we still have these two bits right here. Delete that, and now we just have a door frame. And we won't be needing our 3D view. Go ahead and delete that. And we also won't be needing this compass, so we'll also delete that. So all we should have is the geometry for our building. Now to bring this into Unreal, it's pretty simple. We'll go and export our model. This will grab everything, and I'll just push it to my desktop. Look at it. I save with embed media turned on so the materials come in, and our FBX file format is set to binary. I chose 2013 just because I know it's a stable version of the FBX file format. We won't need camera, we won't need lights, same with animation. Basically all we want is our geometry, our materials, and FBX file format that is known to work. And now we are ready to go into Unreal. So if you've never worked with Unreal, it's a very easy to learn system. There are many versions you can download and store on your system. Right now I'm going to use 4.10.4 just because it's the one that's downloaded. So we'll start a new project and we'll pick the first person map. This way we don't have to create the character to actually move the camera around in our interactive walkthrough. First things first, we want to get rid of all of this excess geometry that we're actually not going to use in our walkthrough. So we'll just select any anything we don't want and delete it, and then we should be good. The import will open up our go back to our root content really, and we'll go ahead and create a new walkthrough blueprints folder. Open up that. This is where we'll import our files for our building. When you get the dialog box, we want import a skeleton turned off, and then we also want this combined meshes turned off, and we'll import all. And here you'll find the different parts of your building. Just to see what it looks like, we can grab all of them, all of the cyan underlined nodes, and pull them right into our viewport. And you'll see it's just floating off in the middle of nowhere right now. We'll go through here and zero everybody out, and then F on your keyboard focuses on the selected geometry. So you'll see that the zero plane is at the zero of where it was in Revit. So we can either leave it right there or adjust it just a hair with our snapping off, both of those, and just so you see a little bit of the concrete. You'll also notice that your character actor is way up here and your model's pretty small. This is like smaller than the doghouse right now. So we'll just scale that up with all of them selected. Let's try 3.5. And that seems to be a decent height, especially when the character will drop down. The first thing to adjust our walkthrough is we want to edit our first person character right here, and we select it in the world outliner here and edit the blueprint, open in blueprint editor. I'll open here and you'll see this window of all the movement nodes that are controlling the character. The first main thing we'll do is we'll get rid of this spawn projectile. So now that that's gone, we'll also delete our first person gun and the arms that are on the character. Compile. You'll see we have an error. This error is in the construction script. We'll delete this attached to, recompile, and everything should be good now. We'll save this, and we'll close that blueprint. And now you can see that we don't have any arms connected. We actually need to put a floor in. For the purposes of this demo, I won't go deep into how to set up a proper floor. What I'll do is just set up a cube as a floor. Put this to 0, 0, 0. So now that I have a floor set up, I can replay that, and you'll see that I fall and hit the ground. And then using WASD you can move around, and also your arrow keys for direction. And then you can see you can just walk around the building. Adjust the glass shaders so that we can see through them. First thing we do is change the blend mode over translucent and add a constant variable. Let's set this to, let's say 0.4, and push that into the opacity channel. Save this, and now you can see that the window is see-through. Although we have another one that needs to be changed. We can just pull that up and put it onto the glass. So this was the basics of moving a building information model from Revit into Unreal for the use of a virtual walkthrough. In the next video, we'll talk about how to program the game to make it interactive for the user.